Is a budget Razor better than a Tuttio? I'm going to be answering all those questions that you guys might have in this video, and first we're going to start by testing them on a hill climb. So let's do it. If you guys have more questions that you won't see in this video, make sure you write in the comments your guys' questions and I will personally answer them. So let's do a hill climb. So right now I'm going to start with the Tuttio, and I'm going to start on the slightly steeper incline. So let's do this. Tuttio passed the hill climb test. Now let's see with the Razor. So now with the Razor, we're going to go on a little bit of a more shallow incline. Okay, maybe the Razor can't fully take an incline, but I still call that a win because it got up most of the steep parts of the slope. So let's keep on going on with the questions and answers. Let's keep on riding. Okay, so I'm going to be starting off on the Razor. I'll name a couple of its specs while we ride. One thing I have to say that it is kind of torquey. It might not have as much takeoff torque as the Tuttio, but it does kind of like jerk you if you're not used to it. But it is a very quiet and smooth bike compared to the Tuttio. I feel like since his tires aren't knobby, they're kind of flattened out. That's why. But it's a very quiet bike compared to the Tuttio. This bike, the Razor, will come smaller if you buy them brand new. This one has raised suspension, MX650 front fork, and then a larger suspension in the back. But it is very cushy because this is probably the cushiest MX650 suspension ever to exist. But this bike should have a top speed around 35 miles an hour. It has not been tested yet. And the graphics on the actual bike plastics I made myself. So if you're like, oh, where do you get those graphics for the Razor? I made them myself. So I like graphic designing. So we're gonna switch bikes and take this on the actual dirt. But you know what, for now I'm actually really liking the Razor. I haven't driven one of these in a while, so now with the Tuttio, it is way more cushy suspension, and it's obviously bigger. That's a nice thing about the Tuttio. So this Razor, basically, it does have more money in mods, so it might cost a little bit more than your average Razor, but an average Razor should cost around $1,000 if you do a 48-volt powertrain. 72-volt might cost a little over $1,000. You can probably make it 72-volt for the price of the Tuttio. But to be honest, I would obviously prefer the Tuttio if I wanted something that's perfect. So this is actually not 37 miles an hour. It does have the Bluetooth dongle upgrade for $25. And now it goes 47 miles an hour, has extreme torque and acceleration. You can wheelie on this thing now. And it's just a very durable bike. I'm surprised. I've had this bike for almost 6 months now, and I did have a little bit of controller problem that did make me get the Bluetooth dongle. But yeah, let's ride. Okay, that, I don't want to do the same thing. Is it also wet here? Not as wet. Dude, you got mud all over. Well, it's not too bad, but your bike's definitely dirty by the back tire, that's for sure. but it's fine. Nice part about the Razor is it does have the upgrade chain and sprocket, so it has the RTR size chain now. The Tuttio chain is bigger, so it obviously won't crack under strain and power compared to the RTR. That's why RTRs, like the people who sell them, they don't insure the chain, because that's basically the main thing that snaps, just as the Tuttio throttle snaps the same as an RTR chain snaps. So people don't like the Tuttio chains. But here, let's switch. I'm gonna go on the Razor onto the dirt, and we're gonna test it. So for off-roading, I feel like the frame rattles a lot more, and one thing I kind of feel like with the Razor is that it has, since it's like a jerk kind of throttle, you can't just like control it to go slow. I feel like it kind of jerks you to a very fast speed. Okay, we made a U-turn, so we're back over here. You know what? The Razor did that on that hill climb. That's for sure. But you know what? I feel like the Razor has... It's very smooth, to be honest. Because I used to have a 48 volt RSF, so I kind of know how Razors are, but man, I forgot. This is a little bit of a different kit. I will say I'm cruising at around 18.5 miles an hour, according to the GPS speedometer that I added. I would say get this GPS speedometer if you have a Razor. It is very helpful. It's very accurate. Shows you altitude, time, trip, total mileage. It gives you so much information. It up. Except the jerks from the front suspension. I feel like this is very, very smooth. Like the throttle response, it has a lot of delay, but it's very smooth. Range-wise, this thing obviously does not have as much as a Tuttio. Unless you put the biggest battery on this thing, it's not going to have as much range, I don't think. This battery should have at least 20 miles range, depending on how you ride. But man, you do need gloves for these grips. The kit grips are very plasticky feeling, just like my old ones, because I have the Soleil Supplies grips on my Tuttio now. I feel like for when you drive a Tuttio after driving a Razor, you instantly have a lot more comfort. It fits you. The seat is way more comfortable. You do have to upgrade the grips. That's not a problem. $15 grips should work. Go to the Q&A. Is a Razor worth the price? What I have to say is yes. It is worth the price, but if you want to spend, like, let's say $700 more dollars, $600 more dollars, the Tuttio is your best bet. Okay, he's speeding. I gotta catch up. Another Q&A, is the Tuttio faster? Yes, it is. Does the Tuttio have more range? Yes, it is. But I feel like in order to get really what you pay for the Tuttio, it already comes with everything you need. Barely dodged that branch there. Just one thing is that in order to get more than what you pay, you gotta get a $25 Bluetooth dongle from SoleilSupplies.com. Use the code Sur-Razor to get 5% off because they have sponsored this video once again. They sent me this beautiful rear fender, also from Soleil Supplies, and the Soleil Supplies original grips. So, thank you to Soleil Supplies for sponsoring this video once again. The Tuttio is obviously bigger, but how much difference to the size do you feel with the Razor and the Tuttio? The size is a very, very noticeable difference when it comes to tire size and sprocket size, chain size, motor size, battery size. All that stuff is very, very noticeable. Another thing is, does the Tuttio have more tech? Yes, it does, because it has a far driver programmable controller, and then it does have a smart display. Unless you want to have kind of almost like a separate smart display, I would recommend getting that speedometer that I showed you guys on the Razor. Obviously the Tuttio has bigger brakes, probably different speed modes. The Razor does not have different speed modes. And yeah, I mean, if you guys have any more questions, let me know in the comments. I will answer them. But pretty much that concludes today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.